to each and every one of you guys. Um, I'm a little bit late because I got some really bad news and I really had to make adjustments to that bad news. Two people, which I know very well, died this week. And so I've been processing it a while. I've also been prepping and doing a lot of other things. So I did not get to the time frame that we were supposed to be at, which is uh, a little bit over an hour ago. Okay. So as you can see from the topic, we're going to be looking at how we could do better. That's the topic that we're looking at. And we will go into that in great detail with you guys. You know, God's been good to me. I'm not gonna lie. I'm still here in the land of the living, and while I'm here, I try to make useful contributions to humanity, to the world, to my neighbors, to my friends, to everybody else. So, uh, basically, again, I apologize for being so late. We're gonna get into this. This is gonna cover the hot topic right now, which is the Israeli-Palestinian uh, hostilities. It's also going to it also entail BvS. As you know, that's a quote from BvS. That's the topic here. It's also going to incorporate a bit about Warner Brothers and Zack Snyder's Justice League. We'll also talk a little bit about Rebel Moon because we talk about entertainment on here. And of course, we're going to talk a little bit about the relevance of cinema. In fact, we're going to also talk about Killers of the Flower Moon. So all of this is interrelated, and we're going to talk about it. All right. Before I begin, though, I always give praise and honor to the Most High God. So I must start off with the Most High God. I got a piece of scripture here, and this scripture is interesting. It comes from the book of Acts, chapter 12, verses 20 to 23. It goes like this. Now, Herod was very angry with the people of Tyre and Sidon. Tyre and Sidon are two cities from the Samaria. So they sent a delegation to make peace with him because their cities were dependent upon Herod's country for their food. Jerusalem supplied food to them. They made friends with Blastus, Herod's personal assistant, and an appointment with Herod was granted. When the day arrived, Herod put on his royal robes and sat on his throne and made a speech to them. The people gave him a great ovation, shouting, "It is the voice of a god and not a man." Instantly, an angel of the Lord struck Herod with sickness because he accepted the people's worship instead of giving glory to God. So he was consumed with worms and he died. I'll say all of this to say, I was looking at a nice conversation between a Christian and a Muslim. And it was interesting, the Muslim said, "What is the purpose of life?" to the Christian. And the Christian individual, he said to make peace and stuff like that. And he said, well, for you to know your purpose, you have to know where you're going and where you came from. And it said, ultimately, the purpose of Christian's life, our purpose of an individual's life is to honor, give praise to God, is to glorify God, is to worship God. And that's really cool because that worshiping God is not just an individual thing, it's a communal thing. We talk about individualism a lot, and being an individual is very important, and knowing yourself as an individual. But your purpose, how do I as an individual interact with my community? How do I as an individual relate with other individuals is also very important. If you just think about yourself and yourself alone, that could be a very terrible thing. Herod thought about himself alone. He did not worship God. He did not glorify God. And that was his purpose. His status as the head of Israel, or the head of Jerusalem, even though they were under Roman rule, was to bring glory to God, not to himself, even though appointed by or allowed to stay in existence by the Roman soldiers. So he was struck down and he died of an illness. Now, why do I speak about this? I have spoken about power many, many times. BvS elaborates on power many, many times. And this is why I say I bring BvS into the fray, because it's very relevant to what we're about to talk about. And one of the things you will learn about power is not to be used or consolidated for the sole purpose of individual and his comrades. But power, the more power you get, is the more that power is to be used to help more people. There are many different kinds and forms of power. There's financial power, there's strength, military might, there is, there is intellectual power, knowledge power. There's different kinds of power, spiritual power. But these powers are not given so that an individual can benefit themselves, or an individual can benefit themselves and their isolated community. But it is for the benefit of the community and the communities at large, and if possible, globally. When we talk about the superhero, we talk about the superhero in this context. When we talk about the supervillain, we talk about the supervillain in the opposite context. Someone who's like a black hole. They want all the power to go to them. They are the mark of complete and utter individualism. They are the absolute opposite of socialism, communism, and so on. So there's individualism. In this sort of capitalist society, the capitalist society focuses on the individual. How much profit can an individual amass financially? They focus on the individual stories, people's case studies, etc. Socialism and communism, in its most ideal setting, thinks about the community over the individual sometimes, because the extremes are that the community is what the community says, and it's only what the community says that matters. I believe there's a balance in between. The individual must be considered, and the individual's rights and freedoms and also the individual's expression must be felt. But it must also be balanced by the individual must consider and weigh what he's doing and how it affects a community. Take, for instance, the community of YouTube. The community of YouTube is a community. It's a community of all kinds of people interested in all kinds of things, right? But it allows for individual expression. If you want, you don't have to express individually. You can express in a community. You can express communally, like where you have a group of people who are expressing their points of view on YouTube, right? So you have religious things, and you have music lovers, and you have film lovers, and you got all kinds of things, right? So you can have groups of people, you can have individuals, you can have communities, right? The point I'm making is this. The problem with Herod wasn't that he accepted the honor that was bestowed to him. The problem with Herod, why he died, was because he refused to transfer that honor to God. It's always, we honor people all the time. There's nothing wrong with worshiping or honoring people for what they have done. But it's up to the individual or person to also ultimately relay that ultimate honor to God. Okay. So let's talk about Israel-Palestine relations. And we're going to talk about it in the context of the scripture, but we're also going to talk about it in the context of BvS. Because what I love about Batman v Superman as a comic book movie is that it speaks on, it shows, it reflects something that's very important for each and every one of you who are listening to me today to understand. Humanity is a fragile thing. What we have right now in the world is wonderful. Like, I can just speak on this thing and speak to millions and millions of people if I so wish, all willing to listen from all over the world. But here's the thing. That freedom that we have, as precious as it is, can go like that. But that's not the only point. The point is that because some people, some groups of people are more individualistic than they are communal, they will not allow other people to have this freedom for much longer. And they have been working for the last 10 years relentlessly to rope in these freedoms and control these freedoms. I want you to understand what I'm saying. There is, in the Western world, we value individualism. But at the same time, individualism in its extremist view is dangerous. Let me say it again. In the Western world that we live in, we value individualism. And it is important. But it cannot supersede simply being a black hole where the individual is the center and all the other individuals around that individual are suffering because that individual decides to satisfy themselves and only can think about themselves. That is known, as you all know, as the word is failing me for a second. I've drawn a blank. It'll come to me, right? And that is what's happening in the world today, especially with the millennials, and then we have now the Generation Z. A lot of people are only care about themselves, but we have also a lot of people who are now opening and speaking their minds on what's happening in the world. So we see on Twitter, we see on social media, and we see now the world in a clear way. But there are individuals, like I said before, who want a certain narrative, and they will mute you. They will try to stop you from speaking on certain things because they are more individualistic than they are communal. And let me make this abundantly clear. We talk about socialism, and we talk about democracy, and we talk about republics, and we talk about nationalism. Nationalism in its extreme form is ridiculous. It's dangerous. Just like individualism can be dangerous. Because the focus is only on my country, my country, my country. Nothing else. It doesn't matter what happens to another country. It doesn't matter what we do. No, once my country's benefiting, that's all that matters. It's dangerous. It's what the Nazis built their empire on. Excuse me. It's very dangerous. Because, and it comes down to religion as well. It's very dangerous. When you only want to be around people who think like you, look like you, if you only want to be around those people, it's kind of dangerous. Because you're never being challenged, and you don't care about what happens to other people. That's terrible. People say, well, you're a Christian, so you should be concerned with things of the world and stuff. Of course I have to be concerned with things in the world. I live in the world. I live in the world, and my eyes should be open to what's happening in the world. Jesus highlighted and spoke about things that were happening in the world around him. He was aware of the times, and he even spoke to the times. Okay? And my point being that you cannot be in this day and age with information available to you. You cannot be, what's the word I'm looking for? Stonewalling people. You know, dogmatic. That's the word I'm looking for. Dogmatic about certain things that are not true. Communism, as we all know, can be an extremely dangerous thing. Extremely. Because everyone's supposed to be in the same mind and the same goals and the same everything, except that can't happen. It will never happen in any society. So what happens to the people who were contrary to that same mindedness? They are exiled, imprisoned, killed. The extremities, extreme individualism, extreme communism, or extreme socialism are human constructs. Naturally speaking, it's an in-between combination. It's like speaking about the left and the right. It's like speaking about Western powers and Eastern powers. It's like speaking about aristocracy versus democracy. It's the same as speaking about feudal systems versus hired labor. There are extremes, and you have to understand what you're speaking about. You have to understand why these extremes exist. Somebody came up with the concept. Now, as with all things, they have pluses and minuses, but you're not going to go on this end, on this end. All right, now, somewhere in the middle. The point I'm making is this. We human beings, always do things that interest us, or what is somehow in some way benefits us. Altruism says it doesn't matter if it benefits you. Once it's right, you do it. In BvS, Batman comes to realize how altruistic Superman is. He comes to value that this guy, even on his deathbed, or even as I'm about to pierce him with this kryptonite spear, he can only think of others. He's thinking about his mother. He came because of his mother. He didn't come because of himself. He came because of his mother. That he was typifying and exemplifying altruism. And that led Mr. Bruce Wayne to say to Diana Prince, we have to stand together. Humanity has to learn to stand together on certain issues. And I'm seeing it happening organically. They're not buying into the media. They're not buying into the narratives anymore. People can see with their two eyes. Free Palestine has been said numerous times. This has been going on now for about 5 years. Free Palestine. And the movement has just kicked into a whole other gear with what has just transpired with Israel and Palestine. Hamas comes out, kidnaps a bunch of Israeli children, families, mostly children, and have been doing some atrocious things to them. And this is what makes news first. Never mind all the bombings and all the military, the Israeli military mistreatment of Palestinians and killing of journalists that have covered these things and covered up all of that. Somehow that the world is not hearing that part of it. Hamas comes out and does this. Now, quite frankly, I think Hamas is the most despicable group of people I've ever seen. But then again, I will say this, so is the Israel military when it comes to the Palestinians. Very despicable. In fact, more despicable than Hamas. But either way, both of them need to be brought to justice. And the community, the netizens, the people of social media agree with moi. Now you see how the collective, who has no particular leader, this is socialism. This is how socialism can work well. When the collective, who has no particular leader, just like our movement, Restore the Snyderverse and Release the Snyder Cut movement had no particular leader. It was a movement that happened as a result of a group of people who were somewhat like-minded coming together and saying, no, this is wrong. We need to set this right. So I decided to articulate it. This is something I want to speak out about. I want to make it known what my point of view is on this as an individual and also as a part of a collective. And this collective comes from people from all walks of life, from Islam, from a Jewish persuasion, those who are Americans, those who are from other parts of the world, whether it's Europe or Africa. All of these people agree that what is transpiring before them is unjust and evil. That the crime is kidnapping Israeli children. Why is it that the Palestinian people, who have nothing to do with this, are being punished when the criminals are not being apprehended? The criminals are not, there's no intelligent way that Israel is going about trying to pinpointly take them out. Israel sold to the United States of America that Hamas is what they're going after. And the United States of America has funded them through the government. Joe Biden's trying to run it back now, walk back his steps and say, but the Palestinian peoples need to be treated well. Well, if you think the Palestinian people need to be treated well, do the same thing you did in Ukraine. In fact, bring in UN people into Palestine. Make sure they get in there. Make sure they don't die. You don't have to arm the Palestinian people because they don't want arms. Give them food. Give them clothes. Give them shelter. They're not interested in war. They're interested in living and surviving the trauma of their dead families. Surviving the trauma. But United States of America, they involve themselves with the Ukraine, but they're not involving themselves with the Palestinians. And yet, if you take a poll today, a resounding amount of Americans, maybe not the majority, but a resounding amount of Americans will say free Palestine. These people need their own state. Now, I want to put this in context. Geographically speaking, Israel is about 5 times the size of Palestine. Palestine is a strip, known as the Gaza Strip. It is bordered by Israel, the Mediterranean Sea, and Egypt. So you explain to me this. It's a small little strip with 2 million people. It's not more than 2 million people. That's it. You're going to bomb 2 million people to get a couple people, maybe 50, if so much. Does that make sense to anybody? You cut their water. You cut their electricity. You cut their internet. You shut down everything because they're not a state. They don't have sovereignty. They're like an extension of your place. You mistreat them. And that's humane? Now, Hamas, not them, are firing missiles into your country. You can't source where those missiles are coming from. You don't have aircraft and airplanes and drones to find out that and destroy those sites and centers? Help me understand, because I don't. Is it that you want this war to continue so you can decimate these innocent people? Or do you want to end the war and get Hamas? It makes no sense to anyone at all why America is funding this. Then in tongue-in-cheek turns around and says, oh, but you need to protect the people of Palestine. You know they're walking targets. They don't have sophisticated weaponry like Israel. So yes, the Israeli military who are involved in this atrocity, each individual who has been involved is responsible for war crimes. and crimes against humanity, just like the Nazis, because this is equivalent. There's no reason for Israel to be doing what they're doing. There are way more efficient ways to go about doing that. Under Barack Obama, they got Osama bin Laden. Didn't bomb up Afghanistan. Didn't bomb up Pakistan. Efficient. Went in, got him, got back out. Saddam Hussein. Well, there was a war. A lot of damage. George Bush. But they got Saddam Hussein. You're telling me you can't get Hamas and like-minded people? You don't understand how cells work by now? You have some of the greatest intelligence agencies in Israel. And you're telling me these people can't figure that out? No. You're trying to get the last bit of land so that Israel can occupy the Mediterranean. And all of these false flags are so you can do that. And you don't give a damn about the Palestinian people. And you sure as hell don't give a damn about your own Israeli people who are saying to you, this is wrong. I just watched it on Now This. They're protesting in Israel. They're protesting the military's aggressive approach to Palestine. Israeli people. Because they know it's wrong. Individualism versus a collective. You think this military, Israeli military, really cares about its citizens? It doesn't even care about its citizens. It doesn't care that Hamas murders the Israeli people that are kidnapped in there. They don't care. Because as far as they're concerned, the place is overpopulated. I'm not going to go any deeper than that. I'm going to leave it at that. And I'm going to say this. My contribution to the internet and to the people is I completely and totally think what they're doing is unacceptable. I believe the United Nations already told them to cease and desist what they're doing immediately and supply aid to these people. They have not done so. They have lied on news saying that as soon as they get Hamas and Hamas comes out, that's never going to happen. So stop the nonsense. You have to go in and kill Hamas. And I say go kill them. But you're the one that accepted them as leadership of Palestine. You sort of kept them in power when everybody else, you chased out the other people and you let Hamas run Palestine. And now they're turning around and biting you in the foot. Go get them. Destroy them. Nobody's telling you not to destroy Hamas. But don't kill innocent people. Don't do it. It looks ugly. And it has been looking ugly for almost 50 years. And Israel, as I said before, is almost 5 times the size of Palestine, maybe even more. It's like a big bully, bullying somebody who can't fight back, and they know it. And they're getting funded to bully. It's wrong. It's wrong. There's no way to describe this. It's wrong. So, as BvS says, Batman, after seeing that Superman is really what he is, he's really deep down all true, trying his best to do the right thing. Batman is inspired by him, and he says these words. He says we have to stand together. And I believe we need to stand together. I don't care what your walk of life is. And we have to denounce this to the world. Let Israel know you can't keep on doing this. There are more efficient ways. There are better ways to do it. And this is not the way to do it. And what you're doing is genocide. The same thing that happened to the Jewish people in Germany. And it started off a world war. Because Germany decided to advance and take on and conquer whatever they could conquer. And the irony of the situation is Adolf Hitler, who led this whole thing, was half Jew. Comes from Jewish ancestry. Even more ironic, the people who funded him were Jews themselves. So this isn't surprising to me. Just because you're called a Jew doesn't mean that you're a good person and chosen by God. No, there are good and bad people in this world. There are people who worship Satan, and there are people who worship God. And it doesn't matter if you have a genealogy that runs through Jewish lines. I know Jewish people are Christian. I know Jewish people are Jews. I know Jewish people are Muslims. Okay? Doesn't mean anything. So, each individual must be held accountable for his actions. That's where individualism comes in. See, you can't, and why do we say accountable? You have to be held accountable. That's why we have laws, people. That's why we have laws. Because it's a balance between the individual and their rights and the community and its overall health. It's a balance. So, if the Jewish community denounces this, which they have been doing, by the way, then these people can't just willy-nilly say, oh, anti-Semitism. They can't say that because the Jewish people are denouncing it. You got no grounds. Why are you doing this? It's not humane. And why is it not humane? Oh, it's war. It shouldn't be humane. Well, the question is, who's benefiting from your war? Because that's unprovoked. That response is way beyond what the crime is. It doesn't suit the crime. And you're not instilling fear in these people because these people can easily get picked on and beaten up. You're not doing anything. You're just a bully. You're not doing anything. You're just causing damage and destruction for what? And you're not going to get, are you sure you're getting back your kidnapped people? You're bombing everything. You might have bombed the kidnapped people and all. I mean, it's just so ridiculous what they're doing. It makes no sense. Unless they're leveling the place for gentrification, to move their people in there. They say they're chosen of God. Well, Herod was chosen of God to lead Israel. He didn't give glory to God, and you're not giving glory to God right now. Giving glory to Satan. Leroy Kong says, I didn't know you were talking, Leroy. Said, hello to you, great live, such a disgrace. Facts, facts. It's a stink on the international community because one, America came and started funding Ukraine. I was all for that because they fighting for their sovereignty. The big bully was Russia, trying to come in and bully them. But then you just come and fund a bully now? After you did all this good for Ukraine, you're going to turn around now and you're going to fund the bully? The bully. And the bully's saying, well, he did me this, he hit me here. But the bully doesn't care that he got hit because the bully doesn't care about the kidnapped victims. He doesn't care. He's blowing up everything because the bully it wasn't about the victims. It wasn't about their own civilians. It wasn't about their citizens. It was about the land. They want the land. And they just wanted a reason to level everything so they can move in. The military doesn't care for Palestinians. The military doesn't care for anybody, not even the Israeli people. They don't care. They just want war. They want violence. They want to use their weaponry. They want to blow up shit. If they could blow up Israel, they'd blow up Israel. If they could do a sting in, they'd blow it. Because that's what the military complex wants. They want to sell their arms. They want to make money. They want funding. Where do you think all of this American dollar is going into? This to the military. Israel to defend themselves. They're not sending money to Israel to help the people of Israel. No, they want to help the military of Israel. Let's be real. The military complex, both in the United States of America, which is highly lobbied and funded, and in Israel. Hold on one second. Oh, this person's furiously blowing their man. Let's be real about it. Speak on it. Okay? It's wrong. Morally and ethically wrong. And we as human beings need to watch this as a warning, because if it could happen to the Palestinians who are somehow subhuman, then it can happen to Black Americans who are considered subhuman. It could happen to Africans who are considered subhuman in their own country. You know what's weird? The Palestinians are in their own country. They're in their own country. Been there for generations. But they're subhuman. What is going on in this world? If Israel can do this to Palestine, believe you me, they can do it to you and me. And I'm not talking about Israel, I'm talking about the military complex. And that includes the members of government. They're part of it. They call them Zionists. I'm gonna back off on the word Zionist, because Zion is too sweet a word. Mount Zion is too sweet a word to be put into decadence like that. No, I call these people supervillains. They're supervillains. That's what I call them. The architects behind this are supervillains. And guess who they are? They're very wealthy people. Very wealthy people. They own banks and all kinds of stuff. They have America hostage too. America owes them money. They're very wealthy people who get to plan how the world comes out and stuff like that. That are funding this. Very powerful people. But like I said before, your power is not to consolidate to benefit you. Your power is to bless other people and to improve other people and make their life well, because the so-called God that you serve, you're supposed to be serving at least. God knows it's Beelzebub that you serve, but we're not going to go there. We're not going to talk about the synagogue of Satan that Paul talked about and John talked about. We're not going to go there. We know what it is. We know what it is, but we're not going to go there. Consolidating power for the individual or the individual's interest. Let me find the word for it. Selfishness. Extreme selfishness. And millennials were like that. They only cared about what served them, and they only considered about themselves. And when you are the chosen one, you can fall for that. You fall for it very easily because you think everything me-centric. The word I'm looking, narcissist. Narcissistic people. The narcissists. They think the world circles around them because they have so much power and they can do so many things. But you gotta give glory to God, man. That's why you have to have a sense of God. Something greater than you has allowed you these opportunities and blessed you. Otherwise, it can be taken away. And you can be afflicted just like that. And it's all over. I know. One of my really good friends died this week. And I just heard last night one of my neighbors died. Life is so very fragile. It's so very fragile, man. BvS. So we stand together on this because we can do better. And we will. We have to. We have to do better. If humanity is to survive, we have to do better. Because the alternative is we have 7 billion people in this world. They're talking about 2.5 billion being the optimum for the world to exist and everything to be in harmony. They intend to kill out 4.5 billion people to attain that. That's these elite people we're talking about. Same people who are actually funding what's happening right now in Palestine and Israel. It's their money. It's not the American government's money. They're lobbying them to make it happen. It means it's their money. Nobody can speak out against this, get annihilated or whatever. But the common man is opening his eyes and realizing this is nonsense. And we're talking about people from all walks of life, because they're beginning to realize that they've been trying to divide us. They've been trying to divide us. And we can learn from each other and get stronger. So we have to do better, people. And the only line of resistance to protect these Palestinian people particularly, because the Israeli people right now, they're not in jeopardy. Only the ones that are kidnapped are in jeopardy. And I pray to the God I serve that God will protect them and get them back safely. But for the thousands upon thousands of Palestinians whose lives have been wrecked by this one terrible, terrifying act by Israel, I pray for them too. We have to do better, people. And we need to keep on speaking, and we got mouths. We need to speak about this issue. I don't know the people of Palestine. I've never met anybody personally from there, in there. I know there are some people who live there on the Strip who are part of a movement. And, because part of our Restore the Snyderverse movement and Release the Snyder Cut movie has people from all over the world. And their lives are dramatically changed. We have people from Ukraine as well. We have people from Russia. We have people from all over the world that love Zack Snyder's movies. And to think that the brothers and sisters, I know there's one brother, unbiased Snyder fan, who we haven't heard from in a while, that he's in Israel. I don't think he got kidnapped or anything, so he should be fine. He's just kind of radio silent for the moment. I don't know what's going on, because he's not really Israeli. He's just in there. And again, you can visit Israel, you can visit Palestine, you can live with Israelis, you can live with Palestinian people. They're right next door. And the weird thing about this whole thing, which really, really messes with my mind, is literally there are people in Palestine who have family members who are living in Israel. I'm dead serious about this. Their families who live in either country. This is what makes it so just mind-bogglingly demented. Because you're talking about families, and somebody in Israel who has a family in Palestine, they have to wonder if their family is alive. You get what I'm saying? This is what doesn't make any goddamn sense. What the hell is wrong with these people? You're destroying families. And then on top of that, because it's like you have migrants in Israel, you got all kinds of things going on in Israel, right? Israel is a great place. I'm not trying to go against Israel in terms of the place. The place is awesome. Okay, I'm glad they got their land and stuff. But God damn it, leave the Palestinians alone. Just leave them alone. Get Hamas. Hamas is the one you're looking for, not the people, man. It's just so revolting in my mind. How could you do these things to these people? I'm not trying to say that they can't take measures. You have to understand what I'm saying. I'm not saying that Hamas is good and the Palestinians. No, I've never said that. I condemned Hamas, and I will continue to condemn Hamas, and I hope they catch Hamas, and I hope they destroy Hamas off the face of the planet. I'm not for Hamas at all. At all. At all. Okay? But to kill people who have nothing to do with this, or people who have been oppressed by Hamas, is just horrific, man. It's just not cool. And the atrocities that the military have been doing to these people and supposedly maintaining borders is just not cool either. It's demented. And so I can't pardon the Israeli military. They have blood on their hands, and they're going to have to answer. They're going to have to answer to Yahweh in the last day. They're going to have to. Each and every one of them. I can't be silent on this issue. I can't. With respect to, so we can do better. We can do better. Humanity is going to be replaced eventually by machines. We've seen the strikes that are happening in Hollywood by the Actors Guild. We've seen how these AMTP and all of these producers have been actually even more hard on the actors. In the next round of negotiations, they were even more unflinching because they feel they can replace these actors with artificial intelligence generated images. And they have already been doing it in movies. They want the writers from the Writers Guild because they need to write stories because the AI still doesn't write good stories. So they tried to sort it out with them to make it seem like, okay, so we got the writers. Now, so be it. And we don't need the actors. They're expendable. This is the same sort of mentality you're seeing with Israel, with the Palestinians. The Palestinians, they're expendable. Power is not to be used to consolidate power. That's stupid. Power is to be disseminated to empower the people to do wonderful things. God could have used his power to destroy his creation. He tried to save it. He created things using his immense power. That's what power is for. Power is to make things better. It's not to destroy and annihilate. That's the last thing you want to do with power. But that's the first thing the dark side of human beings chooses to do with it. To flex it in a negative way, to hurt people, to subject them, and to impose our will on them. And we glamorize them. BvS says there's a better way. That's what BvS says. And so we go into Zack Snyder's Justice League. And yeah, there's a so-called big baddie in it. Yeah. But really, the most superhero acts we see in this movie are people who are saving and not killing, not destroying. The Flash turning back time was to save, not to destroy. We see Wonder Woman save Batman, deflect the Parademon's plasma gun from the Batmobile. We see Cyborg, who is able to save the world by separating the mother boxes. Didn't destroy the mother boxes, but he separated them. A hero isn't a hero because of who he could kill and who he could take down. And that was a very important point in Wonder Woman, even. The movie. A hero is about saving. That's what makes people heroic, in my opinion. A firefighter is a perfect example of someone who saves people from the fire. And that's what we have to do. We have to save people from the fire. And if we can, we out the fire. That's what we have to do. And that's why I love Zack Snyder's Justice League over BvS. Because that movie is more inspirational than BvS. It's about restoration. It's about redemption. Continuing that redemptive path, that restorative path. We see resurrection from the dead. We see all the attributes that I as a Christian espouse, but we don't see it very often today. Miracles, resurrection of the dead. We see the turn back of time. We see the breaking of bondage, with the three mother boxes, Cyborg clears the three mother boxes. For all the violence in that movie, and the movie is quite violent, there's these things that really, and what resonated most with the fans was Flash turning back for time. It was the most redemptive thing of the whole thing, because you saw everything kind of going back into place. Redemption. Redemption. Another attribute which is very rare in the world today is mercy. Mercy is something that separates, I believe, at least the manifestation of mercy, that is. Because, some people say Allah is merciful, and they mean it. But to see the manifestation of that in several stories, in the Western world, business does not include mercy. Legal law does not include mercy. And mercy is an attribute that goes outside of the law. In Wonder Woman, it speaks about how, and you see mercy in Wonder Woman when she does not kill Dr. Poison. It's not what they deserve. It's what you believe. That's the point of Wonder Woman. And mercy is a healing attribute. It allows or gives a contingency plan to allow someone enough time to heal or to analyze the situation. And all of us are on mercy. All of us are on grace. But do we understand that? That's why I like the Snyderverse. That's why I keep on talking about restoring the Snyderverse, because to me, these are allegories of humanity and of human nature. As a result, these translate directly into our world and directly into situations in our world that are happening. When I see iconography describing the Palestinians as insects to be squashed under the foot of someone, and I see the allegories of the Nazis when the Jews were considered bugs that needed to be squashed under the feet, I say to myself, this cannot be the same. This is the same thinking. And I say to myself, my friend, why is this happening again? And we think, no, you shouldn't be asking yourself that question. It's in human nature that if I feel I'm more powerful than you, and I'm going to force you to be as I am. Or else, I give an ultimatum, 24 hours. Get out of the area or else we're bombing the whole area. Callous, unsympathetic, because you did me something. And I need to teach you never to do it again, except you're going to do it again. Because the people who are responsible are not being apprehended. So they're going to do it again. And again, and again, and again, until you handle the real issue, which is the people who do it. When 9/11 happened, what did Barack Obama do? He went after the alleged people who were behind it, which was Osama bin Laden, not after the Iraqi leader, Saddam Hussein, who had nothing to do with it. No. But George Bush went after Saddam Hussein because of weapons of mass destruction that never existed, all just to get back the oil, the land, to take their oil. Now, if America could do this atrocity, why not for Israel? No. Both were atrocities. Both were wrong. I don't care if it's America or it's Israel. The chosen ones, supposedly. Wrong is wrong. Zack Snyder's Justice League. Mythology and mythos and history teaches us how we are, our nature, what we tend to want to do, what we will repeat, what we have to be on guard for when it happens. Seeing genocide in real time, which is happening even as we speak, is horrific. And it should be viewed as horrific. We shouldn't have to go back in time and look at it and say, oh, that was horrific. If I was there, I would have done this and done that. No, you wouldn't have done shit if you didn't do anything at the time. We saw a policeman put his boot on a man's neck, kill him in front of everybody else. Nobody did shit. Some people said something, but most people didn't do shit. They should have attacked that police officer. Quite frankly, it should have been a citizen's arrest. And if a bunch of them died in the process, but we must not allow these things to happen. We must not allow individuals to bully us. We are 7 billion people strong. The people who are doing these heinous acts and allowing these heinous acts to happen are only a couple thousand. We outnumber them. Always remember that. They want to kill us out. They don't care about us. Michael Jackson told you that. They don't care about you. There are good leaders, don't get me wrong. There are people who want to do the right thing. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of rotten apples out there. A lot of them. They're in key positions of power, and they feel because they have power, they can do what they want. We have to tell them no. And we have to do it resoundingly. If you think you're the law, no one's above the law, by the way, and you can't abide by the rules, and you want to blatantly flaunt that you can't abide by the rules, you will be found out and you will be tried. We have to let them know they're just like us. They may have more money. They may know more things about the world, but you're gonna die, and you're gonna die, and you gotta use the toilet, and you gotta eat food. You're just like us. You got feelings just like us. And if you do wrong, you should be tried for it. A lot of people high up, they get away with murder. They get away with it all the time. We have to set the record straight. It's up to us, and we can do it. Thank God for the internet right now. They tried to regulate the internet, and we stood up to them. And they're still trying to regulate the internet, still trying to regulate how we express ourselves as a collective. They don't want a collective. See, they want individuals here or there, that's okay. But a collective, oh, they're afraid of the collective. And we have to show them what the collective look like. We showed Warner Brothers. We showed Warner Brothers what the collective looked like. They tried to break us up. They can't break us up. And they'll never break us up. You know why? Because we believe strongly what we believe. And when you're doing something that's wrong, we'll let you know. To the good people of Warner Brothers, because we know there are good people in there. Lots of good people. Not at the highest positions all the time. There's this rumor that Jeff Johns is now, Warner Brothers is kind of put him aside. He's with his own company. I think he's working with Image right now. He's not even doing comics with Warner Brothers. I don't know how true that is. I saw it reported by one of the, cinema-related sites on Twitter, or now known as X. But I can tell you this. Like I said, I don't bow to any man. If they got rid of Jeff Johns, that's a good thing. That means Fire Jeff Johns resonated somehow with them. If they are, I heard another rumor that Ben Affleck might be getting his Batfleck movie done. If that's happening, that's another great thing, because that means the Air Cut will come out, and but they're not working fast enough. And I know Abdi and Luca are probably behind this. I do think, though, that Zack Snyder Justice League coming out this year is possible still. It's the time's ticking. Today's the 14th, I believe. And 17th is not but a month and 3 days away. So they don't really have much time. But I think it's something that should happen. And it should happen then. And however they want to put that across or get it done, get it into cinemas, I'm down with it. Even if it's a limited release in the United States of America, I'm down with it. I won't get to see it. I really would prefer to globally put it out there. I just have a feeling if it just gets a chance, to breathe, just a chance. It doesn't need much, just a chance. It'll do its thing. I just feel so. I feel like it's its own organism. I feel like it's its own thing. Like Zack Snyder breathed life into Chris Terrio and all those guys, and now it just wants to do its thing. I feel like it's its own thing. And you give it a chance, it's going to do what it do. It's going to do what it do. I think so. I really do. I think the Snyderverse should be restored. They're talking about Universal, etc. But I think the Snyderverse should be restored. I think that serious cinema should be continued to be pursued forward. I'm definitely going to go see Killers of the Flower Moon, which is again another story in which there's exploitation of a people. A lot of people are murdered to get the rights to their lands so that the person can consolidate the oil. That's what this story is about. Killers of the Flower Moon. A white man who they trusted so much turned on them, and that's what the story is about. Exploitation. Bullyism. Anybody who started to investigate too much and get too close were killed. That's what the story is about. Native American tribe. They put a reserve on them. America was founded on the same thing that Israel is doing, which is they killed off almost all the Native American people. The few that remained, they were given reservations. Crazy, just to hear that word. And America wasn't even this. America was Native Americans used to live in America, and then America, these Europeans came in, they befriended them, and then they killed out a whole bunch of them. And then after that, guess what? A lot of other immigrants came in, and then they brought in slaves and all that. And now we have the slaves alongside them, and they're free and all of this stuff, even though they're not completely free. And you got all kinds of people from all over the world going to America now. The point being, same thing's happening with Israel. People from all over the world going to Israel. And all these different people have different ideas and different views. And they live there. So, the world's kind of become a mixed melting pot. It's not just one set of people in the world. And the people who are trying to preserve that, again, just not constructive thinking. The world's mixed up with all kinds of people, with all kinds of different points of view and things. Even in every country, in my country, it's like every single kind of person is here. You know what I mean? And it's cool. It's cool. There's a mosque not too far down the street from me. And there's churches everywhere. I know there's a synagogue somewhere a little bit, not too far from where I live as well. Everything's here. Everybody's here. My point being, of course we can coexist. Of course we can. It's not tolerance. It's enrichment. We can learn from each other. I don't have to believe what you believe to learn from you. Huh? Not tolerance. You and me can be good friends. And you like what you like, and you worship who you worship, and I worship who I worship, how I worship. It's possible. Because our relationship doesn't have to be based on that. I talked about Killers of the Flower Moon. I have one more thing to talk about, which is Rebel Moon. And I also want to talk about Air. Rebel Moon, we're pushing and promoting Rebel Moon on Twitter, on Facebook, etc. I have to open up a Rebel Moon group to promote that on Facebook. I have to go up on IG, TikTok, so I have to keep on doing these promotions. I do believe that Zack Snyder, as usual, very nice guy. I saw Ben kissing Zack Snyder. He was kissing him a lot. I was like, wow. And Zack was just like, I think Ben realizes how good this guy is, Zack Snyder. He's very appreciative of him. And I gotta be, Ben is, in my opinion, Ben is the best Batman I've ever seen. And the material that Zack and Chris Terrio gave Ben isn't just incredible. It's just incredible. The story is incredible. I was looking at some of the material that Ben got, and Richard Citron, who's basically Batfleck is Ben and Richard Citron, right? Batfleck is Ben, and then Richard Citron kind of does some of the action scenes, and then Ben does some of the action scenes, and that combination is just so beautiful. And I was looking at the material that Ben got, and even from what we know about what will happen in Justice League 2. And I'm thinking to myself, I've never seen such a wide, vast amount of material that Batman has ever had to cover, or even Bruce Wayne has had to cover. And it was just fantastic just to see, the beginning, and then you see the middle, you see the end part. Then he was in the Suicide Squad as well, which we want to see the Air cut, of course. And you're looking at that spectrum of material that was covered by Zack Snyder. I mean, it's just immense. It's again epical. And one of the things I think that everybody, I truly believe that Ben Affleck's movie would supersede the action scene that we saw in the Batman warehouse scene. Because if Batman is fighting Deathstroke, somebody who is, can match him toe to toe, that has to be some incredible footage of action between those two. It would be so incredible. I cannot imagine what that would look like, because it wouldn't be one-sided like the Batman warehouse scene. It's like two guys going at it toe to toe. Yo, I would love to see that. I would love to see that. I was just recently looking at Batman, I think it was Origins, or Batman, I think Arkham Asylum. No, it wasn't Arkham Asylum. It was Origins, I think it was. Or Batman Asylum. No, I think it was Origins. Where Black Mask was sending out these assassins, and he took on Deathstroke. And I was like, wow, the action scenes are just so crazy. And to think that Ben Affleck versus Joe Manganiello, that action scene, just that's to picture that. And then to think that Batgirl would come in to try and save Batman, because Batman's getting beat up by Deathstroke, and Deathstroke about to take him out or whatever. Man, I just want to see that. And then, of course, the fact that Deathstroke he's got his vendetta, so he's coming after all the people that Batman loves, with his Catwoman, whatever. The person that I would not like to see die would be Alfred, but he's killing people associated with Batman. So, and then I can't wait to see that. That movie, even though I know some of the story of the movie and stuff, it just resonates so hard with me. It's like, we gotta make that Batfleck movie. That has to happen. You know what I mean? And basically, this is what I think. Okay, I'm not saying this is what'll happen, but I'm just thinking that a sort of logical way for this to go down would be, you put Zack Snyder's Justice League first of all in IMAX. But before you even do that, don't forget to put BvS and Man of Steel. Put Man of Steel first and BvS. And you don't have to put them in theatrical. You can put them in Max. But, if you can put them out, like you could have, like you have a marathon in the theaters over a weekend where you have all 3 movies play. Would be just crazy. Or you could have Zack Snyder's Justice League in the theaters. It runs for maybe a week or 2 weeks. And if it does extremely well, you just keep it running. And you have BvS, Man of Steel, Wonder Woman. You get those 3 movies in a row. Now, yes, Patty Jenkins didn't get the ending. She didn't put out the ending that she really had for Wonder Woman movie, and I really would love to see that adjustment at some time. They bring back Patty and make Patty direct that adjustment or whatever. But as of it is, I'm cool with whatever. Just put the Wonder Woman movie out, and then let's have Zack Snyder's Justice League follow behind that, and just let the movie do what it do. I said November 17th. You know, start the marathon. You know what we could do as fans, though? We could start the marathon ourselves. So we could start doing watches. We could start doing film watches where we can watch Man of Steel together and discuss it. I know Zack Snyder discussed it and everything, but we can discuss it for more content, and then we can do BvS, and then we can do Wonder Woman, and then we can do the Zack Snyder's Justice League. Also, that is another way of going about doing it so that we have more people involved. Let me just see if you guys are commenting in the comment section, because sometimes I don't actually see this. It doesn't notify me on the comments. I know Leroy Khan was talking, but was there anybody else? Rebel Moon will be great. I see here. Justice League. Zack Snyder Justice League was the greatest movie ever. You know, I think it's Zack's best movie. And it's really so ironic that that movie is not in cinemas. I don't know why that's not happening, but it's not in cinemas. That's really a travesty. Yeah, Leroy Comics says, again, Zack Snyder Justice League is the greatest movie ever. Leroy Comics says, Rebel Moon will be great. Oh, you know it. You know it, baby. I can't wait. I can't wait. You know, I can't wait for Rebel Moon. And the thing about Rebel Moon, again, Zack Snyder's, Zack Snyder makes commentary on things that actually are happening in current culture, but because things cycle over and because human nature is the same all the time, you get relevance constantly with his movies. You know, Sucker Punch is what's happening with the strikes. The exploitation of the talent. We got Watchmen. Watchmen was talking about who can guard the guard dogs, who's really watching the Watchmen. And that movie ends in a way in which it's almost like, for the greater good, we're doing this, even though this guy killed out a lot of people and stuff, just for the greater good. So that was that. And then you had, and I don't really particularly like that ending, but whatever. 4 hours of epicness. Yes, sir. In the cinema. I would love to see that in the cinema. Oh my goodness. I almost kicked down the stand. I would love to see this in the biggest possible screen. Okay. In the biggest possible screen possible, man. Absolutely. 100%. Yeah. Hold on a second there. All right. So, I was saying that, Zack Snyder's Justice League, we get it, November 17th. But after Zack Snyder's Justice League, we should be pushing for the Air Cut, which we hope to come out in 2024. In 2025, we could get the Batfleck movie. Now, this is all contingent on if the strike ends or not, right? The Air Cut just needs a couple touches, post-production work, and it's ready to go. The Batfleck movie has not been made. So, hey, you got to at least have the strike over for the Batfleck movie to be made. But, of course, Ben Affleck could be making negotiations with Abdi and DeLuca as we speak concerning that. I don't think we're going to get Zack Snyder's Justice League Part 2 until 2026 or 2027, right? The reason being that several different reasons. One is, so what I'm saying is after the Batfleck movie, those are the three movies you needed to get out of the way. Those were the three directors. Those were the directors that did not get their proper shine. One of us would do a good to undo that. Whether they're running the James Gunn thing or not, it's irrelevant. Whether you call it Black Label, whether you call it Elsewhere, we don't care, okay? Just get it happening. Because we want Zack Snyder's Justice League 2, okay? That's something you gotta see. I don't care what nobody say. That's why I'm so hard on it. It doesn't really matter what anybody says, right? In addition to that, you could have that Superman movie with Henry Cavill. You could have that Wonder Woman movie with Gal Gadot. And then you have the Justice League movie. So maybe in 2026, sorry. In 2026, you could have the Man of Steel movie and the Wonder Woman movie back to back. And then in 2027, you get Zack Snyder's Justice League 2. in 2020 or 2027, and it'll be back to back. Justice League 2 maybe in 2027, and maybe the beginning of 2028 you have Justice League Part 3, and that would be it. You know, and of course we get Cyborg in there. We get the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? So Ray Fisher still gets his job and everything. And the actors, yes, they'll be older, but once they stay in shape and everything, it should be good. You know, it depends again on the job, where they're at in their careers and all of that. But you know, and then of course you could have Final Crisis instead. So maybe Part 3 is Final Crisis or something. Actually, you never know, man, because that would probably change up the story and everything. But I'm just saying, those would be epic events. I mean, epic events. Tremendously epic events. You know? So, I mean, you know, we need to get that. We need to get it. I don't know how else to say it, but it has to happen. Joseph Ed says, James Gunn fumbled it this year big time. Well, I don't even know if he has a future. Like I said before, I don't even know if we're going to even see Superman Legacy. You know what I mean? Because a lot of executives in Warner Brothers are really like, they're not confident on him, having him there. And they don't like the trajectory that's happening. And I can tell you for sure, Abdi and DeLuca, even though they speaking about confidence in James Gunn and what he's doing, I'm pretty sure they're also looking at Todd Phillips and Matt Reeves stuff to see if they can make money off of that. So if anything happens and James Gunn stuff doesn't work, they're backing up on the Batman or on Joker, the Joker sequel. I think the Joker sequel comes out next year, or it's the Batman movie. I can't remember. I think Matt Reeves' Batman movie is coming out next year. But honestly speaking, I'm gonna say this, that you know, I just don't think that, you know, I mean, I've been looking at Superman, and I was looking at, you know, the little clip things that, you know, they put out on Superman, and you know, Superman could be something so more it's more emotional based, you know, where people feel good, and you know, you see Superman doing a lot of kindness and stuff. That could be awesome too, as a movie. But I don't think it's gonna make as much money as, say, what we're talking about. You know, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman showing down with, you know, Darkseid and stuff like that. I just don't think so. Lyricon says James Gunn fails. Yeah, he's been failing with DC for the longest while. Like and people keep on saying, give him a shot. And we're like, how many shots do we need to give him? You know what I mean? He wasn't able to revitalize DC so far. Just hasn't been able to. He's gonna try his Creature Commandos thing, which is like, I mean, Creature Commandos, I mean, am I excited for Creature Commandos? Absolutely not. I mean, I don't even know who they are. Like, he's taking these obsolete things, like Superman versus the Elite, like Superman versus the Who. Now, when you say Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Cyborg, whatever, versus Darkseid and New Gods, you're like, whoa, because you know them. You know what I mean? But, you know, so, you know, that's James Gunn. And so that's why we're not excited about nothing, but this is what it is. Joseph Van says, I wish we would get the solo Batfleck movie with the Deathstroke. Sheesh. Ah, boy. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Boy, would I love to see that. Oh, yeah. Because, you know, the action is going to be lit. But besides the action, the fact that it's going to be a thriller, suspense kind of horror movie. Because Joe Manganiello said it's kind of like a horror movie, too. Woo! Yeah. I'm not really into horror, but yeah, I'm going to take that. James Gunn is just Hamadaverse 2.0. Yes. You're correct. 100%, brother. That's exactly true. It's Hamadaverse 2.0, and, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is, bro. They just double down on the same thing that has not earned them money. You know, it is what it is. I just don't understand why David Zaslav would do something stupid like that, but he did. So it is what it is. So Rebel Moon comes out December 22nd. We're promoting that. Guys, go full speed ahead. Try to put something out on Rebel Moon almost every single day. Restore the Snyderverse. Go strong and hard. You know, we're going to be pushing that. Right now, I don't know what's trending on Twitter. I could check and see. But I know that the Israeli-Palestinian thing probably took over Twitter for the moment. You know, we... Oh, yeah. Halloween was recently. So Halloween 3 is trending. Let's see what else. The Fog, Chris Evans, Jojo Rabbit, AMC Theaters, Hickman, Black Panther, Unearthly Child. So that's what's trending right now on Twitter. That makes sense. Trust me, it does. Um, so yeah, so I just wanted to talk about these things to you guys. Thank you for coming through, showing some love. Don't forget to share this video with other people. I know it's an hour and 20 minutes. You can speed it up to about 2x or 1.5x. Much love to everybody out there. Great live, says Leroy Collins. Shout out to you, brother. He said James Gunn is a clown. Well, yeah, you know, he's a comedian, so he's going to be clownish. He's going to be a clown. He's going to make jokes. That's what he do. Not to be taken seriously. But try to show some love this time, people. You know, this is the time of year. Christmas is coming around the corner in a bit. So try to show some love, peace. We pray for peace in Palestine. We hope that the Palestinian people don't have to go through much more. And, you know, America will, the thing that needs to happen is America needs to cut funding to the Israeli people, the Israeli military, so they don't fund their war, because they're funding a war, basically, to try to do genocide on Palestine. And they also need to put trade embargoes and stuff on Israel if Israel does not, it continues to continue to commit human rights violations by bombing the daylights out of people. The international community needs to clamp down on them. The UN already told them they shouldn't be doing that. Well, they don't have the teeth for it. NATO needs to step up and say, hey, no. Is Israel a NATO member? If he is, then no, Israel, you can't be doing that. They have to act responsibly. They have to use their power responsibly. And they're not using their power responsibly right now. And there needs to be a ceasefire, and soon. And if Israel continues to bomb the daylights out of Palestine, then the measures should be those that affect their wallets. So no more funding to you. People continuously protesting you and showing you that you're wrong in doing that. And that there should be a tribunal to take them up, just like what they did with that Vladimir Putin. War crimes against humanity. So, you know, so they will understand that the international community means business, and they can't just do whatever they feel like doing and get away with it, you know? And that's what needs to happen. And what we need is really Israel and Palestine coming to the table together. The Palestinian people, some representative, not Hamas. Hamas needs to be apprehended. The Palestinians need to cooperate with Israel to make sure that they can get Hamas apprehended and get Hamas out of there. The Palestinian people need to elect their leadership. Maybe some of the people who left come back and lead the Palestinian people in peace, just like how Jordan and Samaria and Syria and Egypt, you know, trying to conduct their affairs in peace, and let them be established as a state and be recognized as a state. And I think they are actually established as a state, but they're not recognized universally. And let them carry out their affairs without any terrorist groups or any people like that around inside their country. That's what needs to happen. People from Palestine need to meet with people from Israel, the leaders or people who can represent them, and there need to be some talks. And that needs to happen. And the international community needs to put pressure on them. If you're going to bully people, then you're going to have to bully the whole world. The whole world's going to come down. But we don't have to have World War III for that. We could just put in sanctions on your ass, just like how they put sanctions on Russia. Put sanctions on you and squeeze your ass so that you understand, no, you can't be doing this because there are other people looking out for other people, whether they're represented or not in the international community. Just like how when Russia tried to beat the shit out of Ukraine, was beating up their ass, America said, hell no, and they started supplying some, artillery and stuff to Ukraine so they could fight for themselves. Well, similarly, you can't be doing this to Palestine, and somebody had to stand up for them. And if it is that America needs to get their special agents, special people to go in there and assassinate Hamas, do it. You know what I mean? Yo, do it. And end the problems. You know what I mean? Because you can't have this. You can't be having this. You know what I'm saying? You can't be having this. Right? But we can't be having Israel doing what they're doing to the Palestinian people. They can't be doing that. Even in the peacetime, they was doing that. They cannot be doing that. And America needs to say, hey, you may be an ally of mine, but I'm not going to fund this shit. I'm not going to fund you bumming out the crap out of Palestine. No, they didn't do you nothing like that. The people didn't do you nothing. Hamas did you something. You should be bombing the crap out of Hamas. Well, Hamas is in the aid. No. We don't want to hear that. You shouldn't be bombing the whole country up, destroying the infrastructure, destroying the hospitals, destroying all the good places. No. Well, Hamas lives among the people and blah. No. Find them, kill them. You know what I'm saying? The people will help you if you help them. If you're mistreating the people, then they're gonna help you. You know what I'm saying? And the people's just, y'all's the same people in some way respects. Y'all from the same region. What the hell's wrong with you? Oh no, I'm not the same people as them. Okay, whatever. I hate these tribal bullshits. It happened in Africa. It happens in Haiti. Oh, I'm from Santo Domingo. I'm not from Haiti. You're the same people, you dumbass. Anyways, enough of that. I'm just say this as I wrap up. That God be with you guys. Life is precious. You know, I lost two people I know. One was my friend and one wasn't, an elderly person. And they all went within this week. Guys, please love the people closest to you. Cherish them. You don't know when you will go. You don't know how life can change. Embrace the preciousness of life. Pray for the people who right now are going through living hell. And try your best to be the best you could be every single day. Let's try and be better. Let's try and do better. I'm going to catch you guys later. I am Christ. I am disciple. Love you guys. Peace.